Hey, so a common question we get here at Tomo is what credit score do you need to qualify? Now, you can qualify if you have at least a 580 or above. However, the higher the credit score, not only the easier it is to get qualified, but also the better your terms will be when it comes to your financing. If you are a borrower, does it matter what type of loan you have? Well, number one, you want to do the loan that gives you the best terms in terms of interest rate, cost, and that meets your personal or financial needs. But number two is, does it really matter to the seller? Listen, at the end of the day, money is money, and where it comes from shouldn't really matter. But there is some stigma in the market that a conventional loan will have higher acceptance rates than a FHA loan. There's a lot of reasons behind that. One of the main reasons is that sometimes people think that FHAs are harder to get qualified from an appraisal perspective. So basically, an FHA appraiser will be more stringent than a conventional appraiser would actually be. Now we've talked about the difference between qualifying FICO scores for a conventional loan and an FHA loan. If you qualify for both, what should you do? Well, number one, you should do whatever actually presents you the best terms in terms of interest rate, cost, and down payment. But number two is you should also consider that there is some stigma in the market, especially with some real estate agents where they might not want to accept an FHA pre-approval letter compared to a conventional pre-approval letter, all else equal. And the reason that stigma exists is mostly attributed to the fact that some folks in the industry believe that it's harder to get an FHA appraisal approved than it is a conventional, which just means that there's a higher chance that that deal could fall through. Because of that, I would probably lean towards a conventional loan if you qualify for both. But again, do what actually presents you the best terms. There's a lot of different benefits, pros and cons, honestly, between doing a conventional loan and an FHA loan. One of the benefits of the FHA loan is that it is really designed for first-time homebuyers, and it allows you to get into the home with a very small down payment, 3.5% down payment of the purchase price. So you have to take that into consideration. Now, I would not put off buying if the only loan you qualify for is an FHA loan. I would not do that. In some of our previous Tomo videos, we've talked about home appreciation rates, right? Kind of like the average is 3 to 5% appreciation per year. If you do the math, it does not pencil to wait. I would still buy now, because buy the home that you want, you can always refinance the mortgage later on. If you qualify, you qualify. That's the good news. I would not let that be an impediment to you actually buying, right? You can always refinance to get better terms later on. However, there are two very simple things that you can do to improve your qualifying FICO score in the meantime, getting you better short-term results. One of those things is if you have a credit card, for example, and let's say hypothetically, the limit on that credit card in terms of monthly spend is about $5,000, you do not want to max out that $5,000 every single month, right? You want to keep that utilization probably below 30%. So maybe $1,500, max $2,000 of the available $5,000 credit line. Now, why do you want to do that? Well, number one is it means that you're not living above your means, so to speak, and you're spending less than you could, which means that you're less risky to the credit bureaus. Now, the second best practice tip that you can do to improve your credit score in the short term is just review it. See if there's any errors, anything you can dispute, anything that's not accurate. And if you do those two things, again, number one, stay below your utilization of 30% of your credit lines. And number two is look for any disputes or errors. You can sometimes get that FICO score up, which will just mean better terms for you in the short term. All right, so you might be watching these videos and think, what do I do if my credit score is below 620? Well, here's the good news, right? There are options on the table for you if your credit score is below 620, even if it's in the 500s. Now, there are a couple options. One of those options are government loans, like the FHA, which is the Federal Housing Administration, where you can dip below that 600 mark and still potentially be able to qualify. Another option are non-QM products. Both of these options might work for you, so it's definitely in your best interest to consult with a professional like us here at Tomo to determine if it's a fit. So what's the average credit score for a home buyer? Well, the average is around a 746 for first-time home buyers, and it's even higher for those who've actually bought before. But again, don't worry if your score is not quite there yet. The good news, even if your score isn't in the 700s, you can still achieve your home ownership dreams. Another question that we get quite frequently is, what impact does buying a home and getting a mortgage have on my credit score? Well, the short answer is any hard inquiry could have an impact on your FICO score. Now, the good news is it's usually a very small impact, and as long as you continue making your payments on time, it goes right back up in 30 to 60 days post the hard inquiry. Outside of that, it should have no impact on your credit score. Listen, I know that we went over a lot of information, so please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions at all about qualifying, about credit scores, about what that means for you and your financing, to us here at Tomo. And thanks for watching.